My home is not a highway, a straight road to follow, one well-known lone pavements I roam through wide
Hello
open
everyone, how are you all
space.
doing? This video is going to be a little bit different because I messed up on the audio of a portion that I was filming. So I'm basically just gonna jump right into it. So I just got back from Alberta, from Nordegg, which is a little teeny tiny town really close to the very, very famous ice bubbles on Abraham Lake. So I was staying there for 2 nights because I wanted to go up there and film for YouTube and get some work done. And it was absolutely magical. I had a really great time. I have a lot of footage. I have a lot of images to share. However, again, I messed up on the audio portion on one of the days that I was shooting and my kind of little intro that I filmed in the hotel. So we're gonna have to do a voiceover for the first bit of this video. Anyways, if you have not been to Abraham Lake yet, it is just off of the Icefields Parkway. You take another highway when you get to Saskatchewan Crossing and you drive, I think it's about 80 kilometers from that point to the little town of Nordegg, and along the way you will pass the area where people photograph all the ice bubbles. It's called the Belly of Abraham. It's very, very easy to see. It's just on the side of the road. I'm not going to put any directions in this video because it's really simple to do a quick Google search and find that on your own. If you don't know what the ice bubbles are, usually they come every January, maybe late December, but they're usually the best in January and early February, and it is methane gas bubbles, and they're really close to the shore, and they often look like little pancakes, and they make cool shapes. Anyways, they are just so wonderful to photograph, and you can get some of the coolest images by being out in that area. So for my first sunset, I was filming, and I do have a bunch of footage from it. Again, I just lost the audio, but I want to explain to you how I decide my compositions in a situation like Abraham Lake. So it's covered in bubbles, foreground galore. There's just so much to photograph, and I personally struggle to kind of make sense of messy compositions. Like, the bubbles are so cool to look at, but they're also kind of messy, and I love to have, I love flow in the foregrounds. So how I decide my composition is I always look through it through live view or through the back of the camera. I can't really visualize with my eye. Well, not all the time, but most of the time I can't visualize the scene with just my eye. I have to look through the camera, and I'm pretty sure that's because lenses distort things. So especially with a wide angle lens, it distorts the bubbles and makes it look a lot different than what you're seeing in your eye. So on the ice, this actually works out really good because you could slide your tripod around. So I'll set up, I have like a preferred height that I do actually like to shoot at. So I start there and I put my camera on, I put it into live view, and I slide it around an area of bubbles that I am interested in, and I just see what jumps out and grabs my eye. I find this is a really fast and effective way of nailing in a composition, and it's incredibly easy to do, especially on the ice. Again, you can slide your camera around. So because I am shooting so close to the foregrounds for this, I want to have a wide angle lens. I want to get a lot of dramatic bubbles in the foreground, but I also want to make sure I have enough room in the sky to fit in the epic mountains that are in this area. And yes, they are epic. It's the Canadian Rockies. They're massive. They're beautiful. And for me, since I'm shooting so many long exposures, I'm typically always shooting in bulb, and I will shoot at f/16 or f/11. My ISO, I always usually leave it around 100. I will change it depending on the light and depending on what I'm shooting. And then since I'm doing the long exposures, usually with the 10 stop, my shutter speed is just whatever it's going to be for that scene. It is as simple as that. And when I'm shooting this close to the foregrounds, I am focus stacking. So I will probably do 2 or 3 focus stacked images to make a complete image. Anyways, I did get some footage of the last sunrise that I was there, so I want to share that with you. And you guys might be wondering what I'm talking about, the title of this video. Well, keep watching because I get into that in this footage. I hope that you guys are all doing well, and I hope that we're all getting through 2021. I don't know about you, but I am feeling much better than I was in 2020. I'm sure that I'll still go through a little bit of roller coaster of emotions, but I'm feeling much better, that I'm kind of out of some personal problems, and I'm just looking forward to this year. And I got some exciting things to share with you, but that will be down the road. I am currently waiting for travel to open back up.
Good things will happen, bad ones will too. So remember that as they happen to you. Oh no, 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 this isn't some little sad song or a cold shoulder, dear, for your tears to freeze on. It hurts to lose something you can't have back, but take a good look around at all the good things you still have.
Good morning, everybody. I hope that you can all hear me. It is incredibly windy right now. I am at the Belly of Abraham. Yesterday I was shooting at Preacher's Point. I was shooting sunset there. Now I'm at the Belly of Abraham. It was a terrific sunrise. Very, very good. Very, very colorful. I didn't get much footage of it because I just focused on the shooting, and it's so windy that I can't just set up my vlogging camera and just let it roll and like watch me film around, because it will blow away. It is that windy. I'm currently holding it down, holding it in place so it doesn't slide across the ice and away. It's been a pretty good morning. It's really windy, but it's not cold. Like, it's just the wind that is cold, so the actual temperature is quite warm. It's just challenging. It's so tricky to shoot in these sort of conditions. We have to give people who shoot in cold weather, in ice and snow, we've got to give them credit. I am one of them as well. But people who can shoot in this sort of stuff, it's hard. It is so hard. It's hard to think. It's hard to be out in this cold. Your fingers get cold. Your toes get cold. Coming out in Canada in the wintertime is definitely full on. I'm probably going to continue shooting a little bit. There are these really, really cool, I don't know what sort of patterns they are, but I'm going to assume that at one point the lake was frozen and then it got too warm and it melted. So the top layer it has like this opaque white film that's over it, but it has some really, really cool lines that are in it, and I think that is because of the wind. Obviously the wind pushing everything through, and then it froze over again. I think it looks just as cool as the bubbles. Most people come out for the bubbles, but there's so many other patterns that you will find on the ice other than just the bubbles. You'll probably spend all day out here, no matter what the light is, and come out with amazing images. It is just that cool of a place. As long as you can handle the wind. Where I live in Salmon Arm, we don't get that windy, so I'm definitely not used to this wind, but it's challenging. Very, very challenging to photograph in. You guys must be wondering what the title of my video means. What am I talking about? What mistake will you make? And I think this trip for me is a very good example of this mistake. The biggest mistake you're gonna make in your photography, whether you're a hobbyist, a professional, doesn't matter what you're trying to achieve, is simply just not doing it. So it doesn't matter how much information you absorb, how much knowledge you learn about photography. If you don't go out and apply it and actually do the work, you're never gonna get ahead. You're never gonna grow as a hobbyist, or you're never gonna grow your company if you're trying to make money. You'll fail. You have to get out and do it. And for me on this trip, so as I was coming out here, I was obviously really, really excited to come out and shoot. I have a goal, I have a plan in mind, do the bubbles, making this vlog. But then my energy level started to deplete as it gets frustrating out here in the wind. And there's some mornings I don't want to go out, I don't want to do it, I'm way too cold. But I push myself, I make myself go out and do it. And I seriously think that is key. Just do it. Suffer through that pain, because when you're done, you're going to feel so accomplished and so good about yourself that you did it. And then you're going to walk away with content and amazing images. It seems like the wind is dying down a little bit, and this is really good because I'm going to still shoot. I'm going to start doing some longer. That's what happens with the wind. The tripod blows over. It kind of seems like the wind sort of dies down a little bit, and then I'm like, yes, okay, I'm gonna go and photograph something again, or start working on another composition, and then it picks right back up and starts blowing all my gear over. It is intense photographing out here. One thing I will say, if you come out here, there's two things you need to remember that will make your life a lot easier. You need ice cleats. Don't come out without them. It's just well, you can walk on the ice without ice cleats, but it'll take you a lot longer to get around and you'll probably fall. And bring hand warmers and foot warmers. So you put them in your boots, shake them up before you get out on the ice, keep them in your pockets, and when your hands just get too cold to operate cameras, shove your hands in your pockets and let them warm up a little bit. There is one of the final images that I created from this trip. I honestly wasn't sure which one to share with you guys to talk about and break down, but I think I'm gonna go with my favorite shot of the trip. This is kind of hard to decide because there is a lot that I like. But so of course there is the ice bubbles, which obviously I was really drawn to, and I got a lot of images of that. But I also saw that there was these really cool white streaky patterns in the ice, and I think this happened because it probably got a little bit too warm. The ice melted, and then it looks like wind made these shapes in the ice. It must have kept freezing. It's so windy, and it just like froze these really cool patterns, and I find that they make excellent leading lines. So I definitely gravitated towards these cool unique patterns in the ice versus the bubbles. The year at Abraham Lake is always different, so you honestly never know what you're gonna get. You might get covered in snow, you might get a lot of bubbles, or you might get other unique ice shapes. I can't see how you can go out to this area and not come back with some amazing images. What I love about this image in particular is the white ice patterns in the ice. That is what stands out to me the most. It really complements this scene well and really draws you into the mountain. I probably would have preferred to have a little bit different of light and maybe a little bit more color, but I honestly find this light is really nice and soft, and I love how the right hand side of the image has the light in it, and then the left hand side kind of has those moody, darker, stormier clouds. I think that as a whole the image works really well. I may have spent a bit more time moving my camera around, playing around with the streaks, and probably maybe positioning the mountain differently. I think it would have been a really good image would have been if I had shot vertically and positioned my camera actually directly towards the light, if I could have found some ice patterns that face that way, because I think the light, where the light was coming from, is actually really nice, and it would have been it would have grabbed your attention right into the image. But with this image, the light is all focused on the right, so of course our eyes are naturally drawn to the brightest part of an image, so your eye might go to the right hand side of this frame. Anyways, I have a ton more images to share with you guys. I'm not going to go through them. I'm just going to share and let you enjoy them. But this trip was absolutely wonderful. I had probably one of the best times I've had out there by myself photographing, and I came back with, I think, some of the best images that I have ever taken so far with my landscape photography, which is really surprising because I thought that when I was driving home, I was like, oh no, I don't have enough content for my video, I didn't get enough images, and then as I was culling them, I was like, oh wow, I actually shot quite a bit, even though I didn't have that crazy of a sunset or sunrise. Anyways, I hope you guys are all doing well. As always, please like and subscribe to this video because it helps me grow, and that is what I'm focusing on this year, is growing my YouTube. Talk to you guys in the next video. Bye!